All right. We're going to answer all your immigration questions today and potentially get you on the right track to begin your immigration journey. Okay, welcome in. Those of you seeing me for the first time, I'm immigration attorney Ify. I'm your host for the next 30 minutes, and I'm going to answer your questions today, provide some guidance on how to move forward with your green card status in 2026. All right. Lots of changes going on. I think one of these accounts is not connected, but that's okay. If you're on YouTube, I think you can see me. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right. Welcome in. Feel free to ask your questions in the comments while we go over some of the recent changes, especially as it relates to family-based immigration. All right. If you've been watching the news, you know that there are so many changes right now coming down the pipeline, and some of them are already in effect. And as we can see, lots of families are dealing with longer waits and separation. So I'm here today live. Hello, Delora. All right, thanks for being in here. As you can see, there's lots of delays and separations with families. So today I'm making myself available to guide you all in the current administration to help you figure out the best pathway for you. So again, Attorney Ify, I'm licensed to practice immigration in all 50 states. So if you're watching me on YouTube and you're looking for a one-on-one conversation with an immigration lawyer, you can reach out to me. My number is on the screen. Okay? All right. It is a great day to be alive. Feels great. I've been singing all day, just happy all day, and I remembered that tomorrow is actually Valentine's Day. Okay, so that's the season of love. It's in the air, and I hope you all can feel it too. Okay, despite what's going on around us in this administration, frustrating people's efforts to actually unite with their families, we find ways to still be thankful and just enjoy, what we have in front of us. If you had the opportunity to actually travel before any of the visa bans, that's a blessing, right? Because now you're in the US, you actually have a chance to adjust your status. Because some of the restrictions that they place on those countries don't actually prevent you from adjusting your status. It just really depends on where you're from. So today I'm going to answer questions about 75 country restrictions and also the second list that many of us really forget, which is the 39, extended list, 39 countries. Okay. So I'm from Nigeria. If you just see me for the first time, and unfortunately, Nigeria is on that second list. So we're going to talk about the differences between those two lists. And I'm also answering questions live. So if you're here, you're watching, you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. Okay. And if you want to, be on the live next time, because I can actually have guests on here, you can let me know, join our community. All right. And I will bring you on here live so we can chit chat about your case, get you some solutions, and make sure you're making the right choice right now. And one of the questions I get a lot, and I think someone asked it in the Facebook group, is do I need to wait till the next administration to file? Right? That's a very interesting question because I know why they're asking. Because right now, filing seems like risking deportation or just putting yourself out there, and many people just don't want to do that. So we're going to answer questions like that today. I'll talk about some of the restrictions Thank you, Katri, on the Facebook group, for joining. If you're already in our group, you know that we're on there answering questions every day, all right, about the best pathway, differences between each option, right? Sometimes you have multiple choices, and that's great if you do. But some people, they don't have U.S. citizen relatives. It becomes a challenge to really change your status, especially with the asylum restrictions as well going on right now. Okay, there's several countries that have been banned from actually seeking refuge or applying for any type of asylum benefit here in the U.S. So you don't have a U.S. citizen relative, obviously your options are limited, right? And if you've overstayed, any type of employment option is really, not there, right? Because you're going to have to leave, and anything that requires leaving the U.S., may be hard for you to come back, right? Because you've overstayed, a lawful presence, all of that is very complex, right? So this is the time to get in touch with legal representation, right? Make sure you have someone in your corner who can answer questions for you, someone like me. Again, I'm attorney Ify. I'm based in Charlotte, but I help clients nationwide. Okay. So you can, reach out for a one-on-one conversation or just ask your questions here on the slide. All right. So I have one question we can start with, right? Because I know once one person stands up, everyone joins. But who's going to be the first? No one knows. So I have one question we can start with, and as we begin, I'll let you all know the better ways that you can potentially remain in the U.S. legally, right, and avoid deportation without due process. Okay, so that's question number 3. Let's go with this one. Right. Question number 1 I have. Can I reopen my removal proceedings and apply for adjustment status? That is a tough one, because we're talking about potential deportation here. If you've ever been to court, any type of courtroom, you know that it's no joke, right? You're dealing with the judge, you're dealing with complex legal mumbo jumbo. And myself as an attorney, I don't like going to court. Right. So if you're in removal proceedings, you know that if you don't win, it just means you're leaving. Right. So definitely a great question. I know why you will ask this question. This is from someone in the Facebook group. I think is anonymous. So I'm gonna just name everyone anonymous because there's some confidential questions in here. It's a private group, so feel free to join, right? So you can be able to participate in these daily conversations that we're having to help people know their options. Okay. So if you're in removal proceedings and basically it's been you were basically ordered removed, right? Because that's the final decision you're going to get after the proceedings are done. Okay, you're ordered removed. So this person wants to know if they can reopen that to apply for a green card. I'm assuming because they got married to a U.S. citizen, right? My group is mostly for people who are married to citizens who are applying for their green card through marriage. So you're going to get a lot of questions relating to adjustment of status through marriage. Okay, so if you're interested in that type of stuff, should definitely join. Okay, all right. So to answer your question, you can certainly reopen a case that has been closed, right? You've been ordered removed for whatever reason. You can still reopen that, but you need to talk to an experienced immigration court attorney specifically, okay? Because if you were ordered removed maybe because you didn't attend court or because you were a minor, you didn't even know you had court because you're a minor, or you were sick, or maybe you had representation and then there was no communication or something happened, and that's why you were ordered removed. In those cases, you could potentially reopen. All right, so you might not understand that right now without a professional letting you know if that's a chance for you. So um, if you are in removal and you enter with a visa and you're married to a citizen, right? There's still a chance for you to still stay, reopen that proceeding, adjust your status in court, and prove that you're admissible, right? Because there's still that. Okay, so it just depends on why you're in removal. People get into removal for different reasons: overstay, um, entry without a visa, whatever, a denied application, or whatever. Right now in this administration, everyone's just getting into removal just for any reason at all. So if you want to avoid just being deported and having to fight this abroad, because there's no telling when you would even be allowed to come back. Okay, so don't fall victim to all of that, and make sure, right, that you know your options in court, your options to reopen your case if you need to. Okay? All right. So let's go with this one, number 2. This question is for those of you who are looking to get married to a citizen. So you entered with a fiance visa. Okay? So, but sometimes things don't work out. So I think that's what this anonymous person in the group is asking. So I entered on a K1 visa, but we didn't get married within 90 days. We broke up. Can I adjust status through a new partner? Okay, let's get into it. All right, again, you can feel free to join the group. The link is going to be in the description if you're watching on YouTube. So you can join for our daily conversations about getting your green card through marriage. Okay, so this person right here entered on a 90-day fiance visa. And the question is, can I adjust my status, with a new spouse because they broke up with the first spouse, on that K1? And sir, unfortunately, you have to change your status to a different visa because on that K1, right, if you don't marry the person who is your fiance on that one, you have to leave, change your status, before you are able to, adjust in the US. So even though you got married again, right, you can't basically do this on the same K1 visa. You have to just qualify through the second spouse not being in the US to marry another person. Does that make sense? All right, so you break up with your fiance, you have to change from K1 maybe to B1, right? B1, B2. Just change to whatever. And then you would, be free to do whatever with your new spouse, right? Obviously, there's going to be questions, right, about whether the second marriage is even real, because I don't know how you're able to, find a new spouse within those 90 days. Like, what is really going on here, right? So a one-on-one conversation is certainly needed for that one, but it does happen, right? Everything doesn't always work out as you planned, and you have to do what you have to do. So, there's no timeline for love. I understand that happens, but in the eyes of the USCIS, for what matters, right, this is going to look a little sketchy. So just be careful about that. How you're adjusting your status, how you are, if you're getting married to multiple people, multiple US citizens, it's just a lot in there. Okay. And here's another common question that I get. This is about a vow of self-petition. So the question says, do I need a police report to file a vow case? All right. Common question because vow of self-petition cases are based on abuse, right? Domestic abuse. So people always want to know how do they prove the abuse, right? Because if you don't have any bruises, right, or a police report, because there was no actual domestic violence, right, it may be a challenge. So I get that. That's why people ask that question a lot. Okay, and so for to answer you directly, you do not need a police report to file a case, right? However, you do need to prove abuse as one of the major requirements. And to do that, you can use your statement. You can get notes from your therapist, right? Get a psychiatric evaluation, right? You can use statements from other people. You can use photographs, right? You can use text messages because sometimes emotional abuse, is verbal. A lot of things that they say to you, right? So there's so many other ways to prove abuse that is not physical, or you didn't really have to call the police, so you don't have a police report. I get that. Right? I had a client one time. Her husband he had a camera in the house, right? Because he had to watch everything she was doing. So um, obviously, he was not hitting her or doing anything, so she never called the police. But she was not free to pretty much talk to her family. She wasn't free to just move around or do whatever in the house. He was controlling her resources, just controlling everything she was doing, and that is severe emotional and financial abuse. But if she calls the police, what's she going to say? Especially as a new immigrant, like nobody's calling the police, right? So uh, make sure that you're documenting everything that's happening if you're interested or you're qualified to apply for a self-petition case. And typically it's for those of you who are married to US citizens, right? Like, the person who came in on a K-1, not quite because you never got married, but sometimes, you might qualify for other types of humanitarian options because if that person, who applied for your I-29F, was abusive, and that's why they broke up with you and left you stranded, you might have options there to still stay, even if you never remarried. Okay, so that's different. Well, if you're fully married to a US citizen or a permanent resident and you've been experiencing this level of abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse, verbal abuse, and you're just trapped, and you have options, which is going to be your self petition. So don't let anyone fool you about what you can do. Because many times the abuser will tell you that they're in control and that nobody's going to believe you, right? Because you need a green card. So you end up staying in a relationship that doesn't even make sense and getting completely controlled, right? Your whole life is just it's a mess. So yes, you don't need a police report to file self petition. Right? You can certainly file with other forms of proof just to show how it has affected you emotionally. And the best evidence for that is really even a psych eval because you end up with anxiety, depression, and all of that because of the abuse. Okay. So I see a lot of you watching in the Facebook group, but I don't think I'm missing your questions or anything. Let me know. Hey team, am I missing any questions on the Facebook group? Because I just see people joining in, but no questions yet. If you're just joining in, you'll see me for the first time. Again, I'm attorney Ify. I'm here in Charlotte, North Carolina, help clients nationwide. Let me make sure I'm connected to you guys. And yeah, if you have any immigration needs for family-based or humanitarian-based options, you can reach out. Okay. So I don't think I'm missing anything so far, but yeah, feel free to ask questions in the chat if you want to, know more about your options and how to move forward and tell you what it's going to cost, right, for that type of procedure. Because when it comes to immigration, right, there are two types of fees. There's the government fees, and if you're going to go with the service, there's a service fee. Okay. And so people sometimes will go for non-attorney services because, um, I don't know, it just seems quicker maybe because with an attorney, you have to actually sign a retainer, right? It's a full representation, right, that goes with you throughout your case. So some people probably, for whatever reason, think, my case is easy enough. I just want someone to review it and blah blah, and then they go with the services. That's on you. That will be your choice. But again, the fact still remains: if you don't DIY your case, right, or if you don't pay yourself, you're gonna have two types of fees: a service fee and then a government fee, right? It could be to USCIS, it could be to the court, right? But it's going to be some type of fee to the government, okay? Because they need to be able to process your application. All right, so that's the purpose of that. Last year, or maybe it was 2024, because I'm still forgetting that we are in 2026. They made a change to a lot of the government fees, right? And from time to time, they'll do that. So the cost for immigrating to the US, does change from time to time. Okay. And then when it comes to attorney services, right, due to the nature of the representation, whereas the full representation, like in my law firm, we help from A to Z with the package, which is preparation, filing, and then also tracking. Okay, because you have to keep an eye on your case. Because after a certain time, they have to make a decision. Okay, and so if they're not doing that, there are ways that you can reach out to make sure that your case is not lost or abandoned. So that's part of the representation. So with legal representation, right, you're able to at least have support if something was to go left. For example, you get caught up in something, you get arrested, or your spouse starts acting up, right? That's that's one of the things. Right? I get that all the time. People start acting up and refusing to help you with the status. So you're going to have support. You're going to know what to do next. Okay. So if you're interested in getting legal representation, I'm licensed in all 50 states, and I can help you if you reach out to me today. On Facebook, the link is connected to the live somewhere in the comments. If you are on YouTube, I'm going to have that in the comments as well. Maybe Laura, you can help me put that in the comments actually. But nonetheless, if you're watching this after the live has aired, it's going to be in the description. Just reach out to me. You can call or text. I prefer texting. Okay, this is why I also don't like going to court. As much as I like talking, I just like talking for a limited time. So um, I prefer just writing memos to USCIS, telling them, hey, don't mess with my clients. Okay, responding to those NOIDs, right? Just fighting back with words. But when it comes to talking on the phone or talking in front of the judge, I'm just like, ugh, leave me alone. But we have to do it, especially now in this administration. We have to do it. Like I started taking court cases last year because I figured that everyone, by the time you get to your interview, could be sent to removal. So for that reason, I wanted to make sure that I could represent my clients if they ever got taken to a removal, right? So again, if you had an overstay, we could send you to removal. If you apply for something and got denied, now you're on the radar, straight to removal. Except you have other relief from removal, right? Which could be that adjustment of status, like the person who had a removal order, right? You can still apply to reopen and now tell the judge about your marriage. Hey, I'm married to a U.S. citizen. I haven't committed crimes, and my marriage is real because we have kids. I currently have a client like that right now, right? He has 3 kids, lived here for like 20 plus years, right? And he is most likely going to get placed in removal proceedings because he entered without a visa. So when that happens, right, we're going to have the backup plan, the relief option, right, for cancellation, because for the 20 plus years he's been here, there's been no criminal activity. He has his U.S. citizen family, right, been doing things the right way. So there are options there. for that person. So while I'm helping families stay together, I want to make sure we can do it in the US. Okay, so I'm here, Your Honor. So I'm doing that. I'm doing that because we got to do what we got to do. Okay. If you all don't know, I'm an immigrant too from Nigeria. So everything that's going on right now touches me as well, right? On a personal level, right? So I got a question from Rotia. I'm going to thank you, Rotia, for participating. So let's see. If you have a child and decide to take her with you to your country, do I need approval from the husband? What's the question? I think it went away. Rotia, what are you up to, girl? Are you here on a green card or what? Okay. Yes, ask your question. All right. Yeah, so the YouTube, if you're already on YouTube, you can just also ask the question on YouTube and I can see it. This is from the Facebook group. Yeah, so please let me see the question, all right, from Rotia. Okay, so you were a student and you overstayed your visa. Okay, that's how you are here. And then what is your status right now? Because if you have a child, a US citizen, and you want to go back to your country with that child, I think you need to discuss custody of the child. I'm not sure what's going on there. Are you are you doing a vow self petition or what? Let me know. Yeah, well, that was a great question, Lutia. Make sure that you're checking before you travel as an immigrant these days. Okay. Okay, so you overstayed. So your status is just overstay. Are you currently applying for anything else? I'm still waiting on him to file everything for me. Yeah, in the process. Okay. So then why do you want to take the child to another country without his permission? And so the marriage is getting a bit messy. So, okay, I see. So, okay, do you want to go into detail on this live? Because keep in mind that it is a group activity, right? To tell us how it's getting messy because you might qualify to self petition if he's stalling you and you're feeling the need to take your child to another country. Because in this administration, I don't know what kind of status does your child have. That child might just end up in uh, that country for a very long time. Okay. I have a client right now separated from her 5-year-old son because of all of these changes with the visa restrictions. So be careful about that. Okay. It involves everything I just mentioned. Okay, Rotia, so it sounds like we do need to have a one-on-one conversation. Since you are in the group, you can send me a DM. Okay, let's chat about it, because you don't need to wait for this man, especially in this administration. You need to take action quickly, because you and your child need protection. So you're free to divorce at any time. She was born here, so she's a U.S. citizen. Okay, great, great. So you don't want to be separated from a U.S. citizen child, and then she'll be left with her father. Exactly. So you're the only one. You're the one without status here. Exactly. So you know the vibes, Lucia. I've been doing this for over half a decade, helping immigrants get free from abusive relationships so they can live their dreams. Okay, so don't let this man hold you back. Let's reach out to me. Let's talk about it. Right. And this month is actually the best time to do it. It is Valentine's Day tomorrow. So since my practice is, mostly really about relationship based visas, I've created a special offer in February. So it's the best time to actually work with a professional. If you've been looking and you're watching this right now, you can reach out, right? So we can evaluate your case, and then I'll be able to tell you about this offer, because it really saves you a lot of expenses up front, right? Because, like I said, immigration does have several costs involved with it. So just expect to at least be able to get started with the right path, because you are going to be with a professional, someone who has helped hundreds of immigrants over the years get their green card through marriage. So if we get connected this month for Valentine's Day, it's going to start. I'll send you all message if you're on the group. I probably already sent it. But yes, there are some special offers going on at this firm, my firm, IFE Immigration Law Firm, this month that you can tap into. Okay? So you can ask me more questions about that if you want to know more, especially if you're on YouTube. But again, feel free to join the Facebook group, right? So that you can get that daily guidance if you're in the process of just putting documents together. You just want to know if this works, or whatever. People are always asking questions there, and again, I'm always on there every day, asking questions, engaging, making sure people are getting clarity. All right, so you can join us. The link is going to be in the description. Okay. Okay. Perfect. All right. Let's see. Great. I look forward to talking with you in the DMs today. Yeah, for sure. So today's session has been great. Again, like I said, it's been feeling all joyful all morning. The past few weeks, when the changes are hitting, were usually like so much pressure, right? Because immigrants are scared, people are just hiding, people are calling my office, like, what do I do next? It's just a lot going on, right? And now we're here, it's February. I'm seeing people posting about their, relationships, sharing photos, and just really having a good time, just really appreciating the fact that we can even be here together. Even though you don't have a green card, life is still happening, right? So I'm glad that you all are able to enjoy life and be connected with this community, making sure that you have the perfect guidance, right? In whatever you need, knowing like, do I need to file now? Do I need to wait? How, what's the strategy, right? So that's what we do in our legal strategy calls that I have with clients for 30 minutes to an hour. We're going over all the possible ifs, buts, what to expect if you're going to be denied. Sometimes I know they're going to be denied and sent to removal, but we make a plan for that, okay? Because they've had some type of misrepresentation. They went to like some interview and said I was married when they were not. So I already know that because I'm an immigration lawyer, right? So I'm not going to let you get blindsided, right? You're going to know the entire picture from beginning to the end, and we're here to guide you through that as well. Okay, so that's what we're all about. You can check me out online. We have our Google page. You can see what clients are saying about us, like working with us feels like family, right? And as it should, because I'm an immigrant. Okay, so everything that's going on touches me as well. And I want you all to feel supported this period of time so you can reach for your goals and be able to just really do what you were called to this earth to do, right? If you're feeling tense, if you're feeling trapped, right, you're not going to think of anything else but how to get free. So if you're listening to me right now, it's for a reason, right? So you can get the keys to your freedom. Right. I'm going to sign out now. It's been like 30 minutes, 40 minutes thereabouts we've been on this live session. I want to see you all in my DMs. I want to see you all booking the calls, talking to me, knowing more about a special offer, right? It's going to be a sweet deal because, again, Season of Love, I'm just going to do it for the rest of the month, starting February 14th, okay? So get connected if you want to know much about that offer. Send me a DM. I'll tell you all about it and we can get you started. All right. Have a blessed day, you all. And I'll see you in my next live. If you didn't get a chance to ask questions today, you know, don't worry. We'll be back again next week. I want it to be every Wednesday, but obviously today is Friday. All right. Thank God it's Friday. Um, but whenever we can get it in, we will. But at least once a week, if you're in the community, you're going to find out when I'm going live because I do let everyone know, right? So just essentially stay tuned and we'll see how that goes. Okay. Alrighty. Have a blessed day again. Thank you all for being here and participating. I'll see you. See you in the DMs. But yeah, all right. You too.